the short race as well, and he will win that tonight. Hands down, his closest competitors aren't unfortunately taking part tonight, so he's guaranteed of that one.
He's really rattling that Porsche around on those bumpers. It's just like it's proper. We saw him earlier when he bounced off and got air right in that final chicane, and he's kind of pushing it right to the edge. I wonder if he's losing a little bit of time because he's taking slightly too much curb there, and he's not really got a good exit out of that chicane as they come up the Casino straight. And he's just slightly less than a second ahead, so he can still take advantage of some draft and maybe pull up a little bit of time. Yeah, he's got about a tenth. He's pulled back a tenth and a half now as we come into the final chicane. That's clearly not enough to take advantage of any kind of overtaking opportunity as they cross the start-finish line and come into that first turn.
Bidet is absolutely beasting those curbs, isn't he? He's absolutely launching the car across them, and that Porsche is taking an absolute beating. But up front, Josh Pratt, he's completely and utterly checks out. Nearly 10 seconds clear, Johnson and Bedoya, and he's got the track to himself. He's got quite a bit of a check. We've got about 5 minutes left of the race. He's not going to come up to the back markers who currently are a couple of corners ahead of him. So this is pretty much Pratt's to lose.
It is totally to his lose. He's just kind of strolling around. He's not even bouncing off the curbs as much as Bedoya there. He's just like taking quite a safe line. Bedoya's maybe looking to attack Mark Johnson now. There you go, bounce, curb, bounce. That is the line that he favours clearly, and he really enjoys chucking that Porsche around. I think it's sterling achievement by the German engineers there to not really damage any of the aero or the suspension of that car as they're coming into the chicane. And Bedoya just took a slightly wider, tighter line there, with Johnson taking a slightly wider one, and we'll see how that's packed out for them. And it looks like Bedoya may have come out of that a little bit faster, and he's now three tenths behind him. He's taking advantage of that draft. Might be an overtaking opportunity here.
Here he comes.
He comes out, he's showing his nose. He's braking hard, and no, he does not let him. That is really close the door. Bedoya just spins round, and off we go. And he may be able to get back in. That's a lie. He's lost. Didn't lose any positions, but he's lost quite a significant amount of time.
Foster, though, that is for position. That is elevated up to 8th. That's Atif there. And after such a mixed race, Foster, in that Audi, he's gradually clawing places back.
They've got Driscoll and Hooper, they're right up each other and crossing the finish line with Driscoll desperately trying to draft as much as possible. And I don't know, we'll see an overtaking chance just right. Oh, he nearly lost that Ferrari there. He just kind of edged that curve a little bit too much, as you see, and dropped back a little bit. And here we go. And we're back on with Bedoya now. And Bedoya is showing his nose. He's outbraking him. And the Ferrari tries to take a close line on it and didn't actually hit him, I don't think, and just basically forced Bedoya to give a twitch, an involuntary twitch of the steering wheel and hit that curb rather too heavily, which caused the car to spin. I guess we'll find out more from the stewards later, when there's maybe one or two of the drivers will potentially put in a bit of a request for another viewing. Here we go with Simon Bamber showing his nose on the inside, maybe just trying to threaten and force an error from the Porsche in front.
So,
my mistake, Bamber was the Porsche, and it was Mark Jennings who was trying to threaten Simon Bamber, but Simon Bamber was having none of it and just ignored that nose, and off we go. But then the Dave Hotchkiss is looking to take advantage of Mark Jennings' potential line error there as they come into the final chicane. Again, the Porsche bouncing off that curve, right tucked in behind Mark Jennings, and we might see a little bit of a overtaking opportunity now after turn 2, after the Virage Senna. Struthers has just crashed. We'll get a replay of that shortly. Shane Abbott has just come into the pits.
It could well be, it should be surprising with 2 minutes to go if it is.
Yeah, it seems
yes.
Here we go, Struthers. Yeah, there's quite a bit of damage on the front of that, and you can see he just overcooks it slightly round that little bend and just manages to send the back round towards the front, which no race driver ever really wants. And here we are back on with Samuel Hooper, with Driscoll right behind him into this chicane, and back in with Jennings now in 5th position, and Hotchkiss is giving him a lot of pressure, but Jennings is similarly looking to pressurise Simon Bamber and try and catch up and close that gap, maybe force Bamber to make an error.
Just see Padea's having another go at Johnson. I think he's just got past them as we watch these guys as Bamber's taking the very wide line.
But then just closes the door a little bit as well and loses the place as a result.
Oh, this is going to be tight. This is going to be tight.
The final length.
Wow, look at Jennings is squeezing him all the way to the inside. But Bamber's is gonna be ahead as they come into the chicane. They've both got to take a compromised line from being so shallow. And what's watching the background is the looming Hotchkiss. Can he capitalise? And don't discredit Foster right behind them in that Audi. He's on the recovery drive. He's determined to make up more places. And
with 1 lap left to go as well. We've got 10 seconds left in the race. So this is on the final lap. And we've got another Atif has gone into the pits on the so close to the end of the race. That's a real shame, with Foster looking to salvage some points here after that phenomenal start and unfortunate spin into that chicane. And he's looking to pressure really Dave Hotchkiss really fast. I'm going to have a look at the replay from the Bedoya pass.
Okay, but Bedoya looks so strong here all night. And he's already nearly a car race ahead of them really early on as they head down to the chicane. And there you go, Bedoya even have a chance to move back across to the race to resume the racing line. Just come across the curves and that's it. Job done.
That was a great final position there.
Oh, Josh Pratt stopped!
Oh my
race leader on the
Pratt
final lap!
He's run out of fuel. That was really unfortunate.
He must have run out of fuel. He must have fueled it short, and that's gifted the win to Bedoya.
Incredible. How unlucky.
Here he comes.
There he goes. Wow. He's the leader of the rookie table, and wins the final race of the season, fully cementing his victory. That was an incredible drive from Bedoya there. And there you go. He just never gives up because you never know what's going to happen. And sadly for Josh Pratt, he was starting the race light, obviously, maybe to get that little bit of advantage, and has paid the price from running out of fuel. Goodness me.
He finished, he was about a 10th of a lap short of being able to get it across the finish line, and clearly just took a couple of extra litres out of the car to try and gain himself a little bit of advantage here and there, and it's cost him. And
it's come back to bite him. Horribly.
It seems to me there's a few drivers it seems to have cost. We've had a few people head to the pits, but I thought maybe that was damage, but obviously not. And it's wow. I just there probably thought there was no chance of a win, obviously, and then went until we saw we've got Davis there in the Ferrari. Just looks like he's running out of fuel. Yeah. Run out of fuel.
He's just trying to. He's sat there in his chair, just trying to shove the car along with his body's momentum to cross the line.
Will be hopping out the door and pushing it along. Well, maybe someone gives him a bit of a nudge to get him across the finish line.
It's looking a bit tatty as well, that car. And there's who's that? That's Morgan Driscoll fully embedded into a barrier there.
That's not going anywhere, just like Davis's Ferrari that's limping along.
With Rob Windsor about to pass him and take that place.
It is. He's slowing down. I don't know whether he's going to give him a bit of a push along to get him across the thing, but no, they're all running slow.
Hopefully the drivers will maybe learn something from this in the feature race and try and maybe put a few extra litres of fuel in to try and make the distance.
It's wow, but then equally these are race drivers and they will try and find every tenth they can here and there, and I'm not sure whether Winter's also no, he doesn't look, he's run out, but yeah, he's already completed the race. So yeah, it's wow. Just doing the polite thing rather than giving him a push round is waiting for him to clear the pit entrance, and is now headed in to take his pit box. As Davis is still trying to limp that Ferrari. Can we have in the chat, can we will him over the line, just use willpower, because there's clearly no fuel left in that Ferrari to get him over the line.
That fuel pump is desperately trying to lift the last few millilitres of fuel out of that tank.
I think it is beyond fumes, as he's just literally edging along, and I think he's going to fall short, but... Wow, Ian. Wow, yeah. Even IRUK down in the chat just put wow.
Yeah. That was a superb drive from Bedoya. There was a little bit of a fumble earlier on, and as we were saying earlier, he's got a lot of grit and just carries on because anything can happen. And Foster, our race leader initially for the first couple of laps before he made an error in the chicane, it was in 7th position, the only Audi in the race. But he was looking like if the race had been a fraction longer, he probably would have taken another couple of positions, maybe from Hooper, because he was challenging towards the end there. But as I say, yeah, hopefully our racers will learn something from this and put a bit more fuel in the tank.
Well, they do obviously in the feature race. They do have the advantage of being able to take a pit stop. Obviously, they will do as well. So, and also it'd be interesting to see historically in GT3s for the past 3 seasons, as we're at the close now of season 3. We've seen them run as long as possible, obviously fuel the car up at the start of the race, run as long as possible, and then with around about a quarter of the race to go, pop in, stick some fuel on, new tyres, and off they've gone again. Now, interestingly, last week, so 2 weeks ago at Interlagos, we saw Paul Busby pull off a completely different tactic and pitted just after mid-race distance. And fueled up and went really for the second half.
Yeah.
And I'd be interested to see, obviously, other drivers will have spotted it because it just stood out like a sore thumb. So surprising to see someone in the pits so early, especially as Busby was running in pretty much clean air then. And I'd be interested to see if any of the other drivers have taken that on board, and could we see alternative pit tactics from them potentially? And just obviously the standings up now just confirms that Bedoya is your champion for the GT3 Sprint Race Series for Season 3. Clear of Johnson, who elevates himself at 5 places to come in second with 77 points, and then Matt Edmondson rounding out your top 3 on 70 points. But yeah, I think it could be really interesting to see how those tactics play out tonight.
Yeah, clearly, I think you're right. Other drivers would have seen how the kind of F1 strategies of undercutting worked for Paul and may work for them. But then if everyone starts doing it, then at that point you have to start judging your timing. You have to wait for one person to go in and go in after them. And yeah, all of these pit strategies are still to be explored, as we'll find out in the feature race, which will be coming up shortly.
Yeah, just a brief sort of intermission between the 2 sessions right now. But you're saying obviously about pit strategies. We saw it all the way back in season 2, where we had it was at Watkins Glen actually. We saw actually 2 different strategies slightly play out, where the drivers. So in the Pro and Pro-Am race, we saw Alberto Gravilli play. He ran the the undercut to really good success, and then in the AM and Rookie race, which was actually the week prior, we saw Josh Wilson pull off the overcut, and to absolutely brilliant success and elevating him up himself up, I think about 2 or 3 places from memory. I'm sure Josh is probably, if he's in the chat, I'm sure he'll be there reminding us of how many places he managed to gain from that lovely little move. I understand he had his family watching on that day, so I'm sure they would have been cheering as he emerged out of the pit lane as the cars rounded turn 1, and there was Wilson and his Ferrari ahead of them. Shame we haven't had him back for season 2. We saw some great performances. I know he's gone on to F3 things, and has been ripping up the F3 championship and being competitive within that. Obviously, that's been covered on the channel by our colleagues Nick Allen and Christopher Rowlands. But yeah, so Ian, what are we thinking for the feature race? We've got so many close battles, and Obviously, we'll see quite a few of the drivers who within that same race as well. Now, just to bring you up of potential battles that will be happening, and because there's literally every single championship pretty much is up for grabs. So in Elite, the top category, you've got Paul Busby leading the championship on 143 points, but we've seen the absolutely epic Jonathan Hitchin. He's behind it. He's 13 points behind him. So it is possible for him to catch and beat him. And we've seen, well, I think back to Imola, Jonathan Hitchin, what a driver they, bar none. Absolutely stunning for him. You can see the championship points there up on the screen now, I believe. And he's got every chance of catching him. And I think he's going to be a real strong candidate and a real thorn in Busby's side. Now, just looking across to the pro category, that, again, incredibly tight at the top. It's tied on top by Cy Anthony and Chris Hitchin. Those two were teammates in a charity endurance race yesterday. We've also got Masters as well at the top end and Chris Edisford. And that literally could go absolutely any way between those guys. And if we then head across to AMS, again, another championship that is completely wide open and undecided. We've got Luca, Armstrong, Wynn, Neil Smith, Lawson as well. And it could go absolutely any way between those guys as well. So there's battles all over the place. Then if we look across to the overall championship, so that's drivers from all divisions. That's currently being led by Keith McKenna. Well, he's got Busby 11 points behind him, and also Tom Tennant. And McKenna and Tennant, two new drivers to the league this season, and wow, what a debut season for them. We've seen just such absolute, they've come into the league and just ripped up the form book and really got in amongst the front running drivers, the stalwarts of GT3 League. We've seen, obviously, where we've seen likes of Busby, Hitchin, Gavili, Armstrong have been the mainstays at the front, and these guys have just come in and really mixed things up a bit.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of interesting things from McKenna and Hitchin, Tennant and Gavili. I think Gavili's always been a name to watch within the championship standings, and he's always done well and often been a little bit unfortunate sometimes. I think with a couple of accidents that's knocked him out. So hopefully he'll get a clean race and do well here.
Now we're in this intermission. I believe James is headed across to the commentary box. Are you there yet, James?
I can see him walking down the corridor. He's going to kick the door open any second.
Yeah, I think he is. Just on Twitch, thank you, Rusty Racing, for the subscription. Currently on 5 months on a 4-month streak. Thank you for that one. That's absolutely epic. There were also Luna on owns Twitch. Thank you for the subscription there. Sorry for the follow. GLR, thank you for your follow. Alexander Massia, thank you for your follow as well. I think I've covered absolutely everyone. Oh no, Zootsney, thank you for your follow as well. Good to see you guys. Now, if you're thinking, mate, I'd like to be part of the action, and or maybe just want to get involved in the iRacing UK community in general, if you head across to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/iRacing UK, where you can drop us a message on there, and you'll be sent a link across to the Discord, and you can potentially take part in future events and, never know, make your way onto one of our live broadcasts.
Good evening, Tim.
There he is.
There he is, James. Hi, James. How you doing?
The man, the myth, the legend himself.
I'm all right. I had to sort out some sound issues, but I'm all good now, mate. I'm all good.
Fantastic.
So, how are you all this evening? That was a bit of a crazy end. Poor Josh Pratt running out of fuel.
Yeah, that's a real shame, isn't it?
I don't think anyone saw that one coming.
No. Oh, man. Literally just running out right at the end.
So he did have a substantial lead, so he probably could have. I wonder if he could have backed off. I mean, this is all great hearsay, commentators, we're watching it, blah, blah, but he could have backed off a little bit and only come ahead across the line, maybe 3 seconds ahead. He might have wondered whether he'd finished with the fuel.
Now, quick one for you, gents. Well, I've got you both. Obviously, we've seen the dominance of Porsche this season. Obviously, especially with it being a brand new car to iRacing as well. So, of course, a lot of the drivers have adopted it because it's something new and shiny, exciting, and they've been really, Porsche's been really successful. Obviously, iRacing announced within the last few days that we'll be getting yet another new, new GT3. It's the Ferrari, still the Ferrari 488 GT3, but it's the Evo version, so the newer version. Do you think we could see potentially a resurgence from Ferrari, which they were so dominant in Season 2 in the league, and quite a few of the drivers adopting it?
The word is, it's not terribly different. I think it's a little bit, I can't remember whether it's a little bit shorter or a little bit longer wheelbase, but I think we'll still see people adopting the new Porsche, because it's going to be the 912 body shape, I believe, is the new car to be arriving. So I think everyone will probably still stick with the Porsche, 'cause it's still going to be fresh in everyone's mind. And the Ferrari's been around a long time, so there will be a few drivers trying it, I suspect. But I think the Porsche will still hold king sway for a little bit.
I think for me, one potential, which was, it's a real shock for me, is what we mentioned him obviously earlier. He's vying for the championship. Is Busby? He's been a Ferrari driver since the beginning. He surprisingly made the switch to Porsche. And I do wonder whether we could see him switching back to his favourite Ferrari and heading across back to that. Yeah, his first love.
See, I don't know if he will. Tim,
A bit of a fumble in the bus shelter can always last a long time in your memory.
I don't know if he will change over.
Do you think he's the Porsche?
I think he'll stick with the Porsche. It is quick. We know it's quick. I don't know. I think so.
Well, equally, we've seen Jonathan Hitchin, he's stuck with Ferrari the whole way through. We've got qualifying just currently started. The drivers are currently on their outlaps. Now, we've seen, obviously, Jonathan Hitchin, he's stuck with Ferrari the whole way through for all 3 seasons. He is so dominant in that machine, and can he continue that he'll be making the switch off, I assume, across to the new Evo version, and can he continue that dominance and that strength?
It's Jonathan Hitchin.
Wow.
I don't really need to say anything else. It's Jonathan Hitchin.
I think you're right there.
Yeah, there's no reason he won't be over. There's no reason he won't be continually strong. We've seen him go through the whole field of 32 places. There's no reason for him to change.
There's not, but then saying this, I was surprised to see obviously Busby make the switch, as he was a Ferrari man through and through, and I know he did flirt as well with the McLaren in one of the special events against another Discord community that was against the South African guys, and really enjoyed it. But then made a switch back across, and as I'm talking of one of our Porsche drivers, Gravili sets the fastest time. He's got provisional pole. He's currently the only driver to set a lap. So there's Masters joined him there, and there we go. You got everyone starting to head across the start-finish line now and set their times, and the times are starting to pour in. But yeah, we've seen some real dominant performances from Gravili in qualifying. Who was your favourites for qualifying tonight in Montreal?
Paul Busby's going to be there or thereabouts. Jonathan Hitchin, I would hope, but see. Who else? Who could be an outsider, Tim? What do you reckon?
Who's
going to be an outside shot? Come, we're not going to commentate his cursing, because as we found out the other day, that just goes completely wrong.
Yes, so it's Hitchin just taking pole from Gravili, 2 tenths ahead, as we were just talking about.
He is, and I think I'm almost a bit scared to say, think of an outsider, because normally whenever we've done this, I think back to poor Nathan Willoughby. We've beat him up so much twice now, and at Long Beach he had a brilliant start, but then obviously had a slight incident after putting on an absolute defensive masterclass in that McLaren.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm almost a little bit scared to to pick anyone out, but as we've seen all season long, especially with the strength of the field, as we watch Willoughby now come across the line in McLaren, the only driver, the only McLaren in the field, and sticks it on the second row in third. This could go anyway. It's literally such a lottery at the front end.
Tim, that's such an I'm going to sit on the fence even.
You know what? I am comfy. I'm comfy straddling the fence.
You're just there balancing in the middle, Tim. And at the end of the day, I think, if we said, Tim, we've sat you down, we want a winner, who would you go for?
Right, if we're going for outright win.
We want a winner, Tim. Who's it going to be?
Discard your fence cushion right now, Tim.
Okay, I'm going to discard my fence cushion, and I am going to go. I'm going to go Jonathan Hitchin. I think it's going to be interesting because he's going to be really pushing it. He's got the work to do over Busby in the championship. So I think he's going to be pushing for that race win. He needs it. So for a race win tonight, you pick up 40 points. Second place is 35. Now, he needs back a fat packet math. So if Hitchin wins, he needs to Busby to... Excuse me.
All right, you're right there, Tim.
He needs Busby to...
Having a bit of a drink.
Yeah, I'm just...
He needs a drink, I think, mate. You're all right.
Yeah, I'm all right. Busby needs Busby needs to finish around about 4th or 5th place for Hitchin to snatch the title from him. And so I think he's just going to be pushing so hard. So I think Busby can afford to sit back a little bit, but as we've seen, it just could go absolutely anywhere. And there's so many pinch points on this track, as we saw in the sprint race. It just on its day, it could go anyway. This race.
All right, let's be honest. Is Paul Busby going to sit back?
No,
not a chance. Paul Busby is not going to get in that car and go, I can finish 5th and I'm still going to win. He'll have it in his head that that's what he can do, and he'll know he'll be able to do it, but he definitely will not sit back on his laurels, because he knows one mistake, one sit back, one loss of concentration, he could be in a wall, race over. And I know, and he won't do that. Paul Busby not sit back on that and think, I can finish 5th. He'll go for the win.
For me as well, another driver to keep one eye on. He's not had, by his own high standards, the best of seasons. I think, well, probably even he would say so himself, is James Armstrong. And I think he's going to be a quiet, dark horse to watch out for in that Mercedes tonight.
He's had a very quiet season, hasn't he?
He has, and
in relative terms.
By his own high standards, almost underwhelming, I'd say. But I think one of the drivers is really... Well, this was a few drivers who's really improved for me this season, but one of them, and he's currently occupied 7th place on the grid right now, is David Lawson, who's improved leaps and bounds. And I think he's a little bit of a... Not necessarily for the win, but he's a bit of a dark horse and one to keep an eye on throughout this race.
I would like, in all honesty, I would love Kiefer McKenna to get a win.
Yes.
Such bad luck. And I'd love Kiefer McKenna to get a win. Got to be honest, but I don't want to put the mockers on him. So.
No. Now, McKenna is ironically leading the overall championship ahead of Busby, so I think he is on course for that one. Him and although in third place is. Wow, that was
see,
call it the World of Champions and nearly one of our looming potential champions.
And the commentator's curse straight off.
Yes,
there. I'd want him to go and win, and he goes and nearly puts it in the wall. There you go.
And he's only 200ths behind the pole there. That's a great time that he's put in. That is so close. 200ths of a second.
Which is nothing.
It's nothing. That is a fraction of a second late on the accelerator out of one corner. That's all that is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's barely a click of the finger. Isn't it? It's not even a click of the fingers. You know what I mean? It's
No,
just
I don't
there's
think it even
so
is.
little. I don't even think it is. I can't even count quick enough.
No,
No,
it
it
is.
Might simply be down to just a slightly colder tyre, or maybe he's overheated his front tyre in a corner earlier. So
It could be anything, couldn't it? Let's be real. He couldn't have gotten the accelerator quick enough coming out the corner. It could be, who knows? But
Now, interesting. UK Dan over on Twitch chat. His top 3 is Jonathan Hitchin, Keith McKenna, Alberto Gravilli. We'd love to hear what everyone else's thoughts are. Chris Hitchens put the emoji of someone with their head in their hands, and don't know whether that's for his brother or whether he was sort of half hoping that someone thinks that it might be him for the win. And yeah, I think. Did we get round to the AMs? Yeah, we did talk about the AMs earlier. And if you look at the top of the championship, so really close between Luca and Lawson. But now, looking at the qualifying standings, Lawson's in 8th place. Luca is all the way down in 19th.
he seems to be struggling. Luca is. He's got to get it. He's got to get a lap together. There, I think.
He's got to get a wriggle on, but I'm just trying to have a look. But I think he's used all of his laps up. He has. So that is it for Luca. Andrew Jones has still got a couple of laps in the bag. And Damien G there, he's stopped on track. He's only
Literally sat in the middle.
Only done 1 lap. Little bit of a bizarre one there, but Chris Hitchens on his last flying lap. Brother of obviously Jonathan, who we've tagged for the race win tonight potentially.
You have.
I have. I've
All right.
stuck my neck on the line.
I'd like to say that you have, and if it doesn't work out,
It's my fault.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll shoulder that responsibility.
Because
Put your head in the
unfortunately,
guillotine, Tim, and
have.
shoulders will be all that's left.
he's on the chopping block now, Ian, to be fair.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's
honestly, mate, I've done it with Nathan Willoughby. Poor Nathan. He was doing so well. And I picked him for the win, and he went go down very well, did it? So if Jonathan Hitchin doesn't do well, this is
properly bounces off the curves there. That's incredible.
Wow. Chris Hitchin.
Chris Hitchin.
Monstered them there. Let's see if he can improve. He's in 22nd. And no, he doesn't. He no, sorry, he does. He's gone
One
quicker
position.
at 1 position ahead of Lee Green. And Green, do you know, he's another driver who's surprised me a little bit this season in terms of, I don't think he's quite had the season that he would hope for. We saw brilliant things from Lee last season, and he's transitioned across from Assetto Corsa Competizione across to iRacing with real great success. But he just seems to, obviously with the larger grids, he just seems to be struggling a little bit maybe this season. And I'm looking forward to next season and watching him and hopefully having a resurgent Lee Green, because he was a really strong driver. And yeah, it's almost a bit of a shame for him.
I think that's the thing, though, Tim, isn't it? Coming across, transferring over to Ira, and then going into the league for a season, then coming back into another season. It's a bit daunting in general. You know, you get a little bit nervous, and then you've got all these cars around you, and it could be really a mixture of things for Lee Green. What mentally could be going on,
well,
rather than his driving ability.
You say that, we saw previously with Cy Anthony. Obviously, he's made the transition from Ferrari to Porsche, as a few of the drivers had, and he's come on absolutely leaps and bounds. Cy over 1 lap is absolutely phenomenal, and he was last season. But where he needed to improve on was his traffic management skills. Picking his way through the pack. I think that was maybe his weaker side of his armory, and he's really, really brought that on leaps and bounds, and the results have shown for itself. And you see between the two drivers, how far up that Anthony is in the grid. He's up 11th with likes of Beb, Busby's not too far in front of him either, time wise. But so I think it could be really interesting. Now, interesting one. Cullen in the BMW has not put a time in. Now,
No.
I know from officials that Cullen likes to start from the back and normally has really good success. So that he is going to be one driver to watch out for, and see how he picks his way through the pack. He's got a really strong iRacing as well, and he drives literally pretty much everything going, everything and anything. So just moving across now to the 5-minute warm-up before we have lights out and the race will commence. So he is definitely going to be one driver to keep one little eye out for our viewers at home. And there's obviously, as we've mentioned, so key drivers to watch out for tonight are going to be Luca and Lawson, Anthony and Chris Hitchin, Jonathan Hitchin, Paul Busby, Keith McKenna, and Tom Tennant. I think they're all going to be the main ones. Plenty for us to cover. Plenty of action. As we see, I love that livery that Charlie Webb's got. See him flash past the screen there. So yeah,
we have got Tom Tennant and Keith McKenna qualifying with top two.
Haven't we?
Yes, and Paul Busby is in 7th, but I don't think he will sit there. Now, going back to Ben Cullen, it's a bit different to coming through official from the back than it is in a league coming from. Do you know what I mean? The league drivers are a little bit more on it, Tim. They're a little bit, I'm going to say sensible, and they're more consistent throughout the league race than official. So I think he'll make it through a few places, but I am going to say I think he may struggle a little bit.
I think it's
also a bit of a longer race, isn't it, than an official? So there's always the pit stop strategy to try and make places up, as we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I just think coming in the back with this caliber of drivers, not disrespecting anybody that is going to go breeze past them, but this caliber of drivers, I think Ben Cullen is going to have a bit of a mission to get. But there you go.
Wow. But the trouble is, so there's a couple of key points on the track to watch out for. Obviously, the World Champions is the infamous point on the track, with that looming, wall right on the corner exit. But also around turn 3, where the track narrows, we've got that second chicane, and also there's another wall looming on corner exit. And where the track is so narrow, if someone spins near the front and has it sideways on, I think it could be interesting.
They're going to stop, Tim. You can't.
I think that was what Masters just had a bit of a nasty spin there. I think he just got it onto the grass under braking.
I think they're going to. If that happens, they would. I think they would have to, right? But partly because there's not any room. I've driven around this track. You go round Masters under braking, didn't he? That was to do with anyone. Bit weird. But if you go into turn 3, Tim, and you lose it, there isn't that room, especially with a moving car. Now, we all know with GT3s or anything, if you hit it and you're going backwards, no control to try and stop it and going forward. No, the car's behind. If you're going back, you're going to take them out. And I think it could be that they're going to have to just try and, if they hear the yellow flag, stop, slow down enough so they can see where the car is before they carry on throttling through. But they are racing drivers, Tim, and as we know, it.
Well, yes. Yeah, absolutely anything can and will happen undoubtedly tonight.
Yes. We're excited. I think Keith McKennan's going to be pushing Tom Tennant from the start, and I think Paul Busby's going to be making moves as much as. That's my prediction for the evening.
I think we're going to need eyes in the back of our head and absolutely everywhere to try and keep an eye on this one tonight, as I think there's going to be action absolutely all over the place, and we are not far away. We're approximately around about a minute away from the drivers taking to their formation lap. And with them we will find out, well, who is going to be crowned the race victor tonight for round 6 of season 3 of the iRacing UK GT3 League, but also who is going to be crowned championship of all the various championships, and they're all up for grabs.
I think it's going to be an exciting race. I'm hoping that they've got to go into this with the attitude of, I've just got to finish ahead of so-and. I haven't got to finish ahead of somebody who's not challenging me or who's not in my league as such, or in my class, sorry, and just be sensible about it. I think that's the way I would approach it if I was, I don't know, Dave Lawson. I've just got to try and get ahead of Murray Luca. I wouldn't put myself in that situation where I could end up putting myself in danger. I don't know about you.
Wow. Well, it's trouble is, it's just, I think it's another large part that could play as well into this is, as you just see Lawson there, he's in that famous Ghostbuster livery that he carries, and I think this could, it's pit stop tactics going to play a part. This traffic management's going to play a part. Obviously, you know, coming round on lap cars potentially. Oh, there's so many variables, and I think we're in for for the next hour. It's going to be just pure wall-to-wall drama and excitement. Cullen has headed to the pit, so let's say he's going to run and start from the last row of the grid. He's going to gamble and take the start from the pits, which is going to put him from potentially see into the session. We'll keep an eye out. Hopefully, he's going to make the race start, because that'll be one interesting driver to keep one eye on.
Did he miss the start?
I think he might have missed the start, but equally, obviously, with where the pit exit is, it comes out of the obviously into turn 2, right? So you miss up turn 1. So could it be a bit of tactics from Cullen? I don't know, but get ready. Get hyped, because here we go. The final round of the season for GT3s is go. Oh wow, look at them spread out all across the track there. But Tom Tennant is clear. But look there, for second place, there's Hitchin. He's going to be on the outside, but now he's going to have to slot back in. He couldn't carry the momentum all the way round, and he's going to have to settle for third as they head out round now to turn 3. They've got no accidents yet. Everyone seems to have got away cleanly. And Willoughby, great start from him. He's maintaining 7th place, the only McLaren in the race so far tonight. As they all head off now, and it's going to be, I think everyone seems to have got away cleanly. Yeah, nobody's headed off track, and Cullen has left the pits. Apparently, he's at last, so let's keep one eye out for him and see how he gets on tonight. And likewise, Stuart Bickley and everyone opted to start from the pits, so the BMW and Mercedes respectively. But Lawson's managed to maintain his start. He's still in 9th place. He is well ahead of Lucas still. But here comes Gravili. He's attacking Armstrong. These two have battled so much in last season, but that's a bit of a nudge there.
Yeah, he definitely touched him there, Tim.
He definitely did, but it has not stopped Armstrong. He's used all of the grunt of that V8 and that Mercedes. But there's Busby looming in the background behind Gravili. They all head across the right of the track. They all head across the left. Here comes Busby up the inside into the final chicane. Do they get through safely? Gravili takes lots of curb on the inside, side by side, but that looks like that's Busby through. He's managed to take the position. Brilliant drive, and wow, there was a lot of bravery there for the pair. And here comes Bebb. He's looking to send it up the inside of Willoughby, but Willoughby's fighting back. He says, no, Bebb, you're not having that place. He's going to be on the inside for the next corner as well as they head up to turn 3, and he's managed to hold that place. But here comes Bebb, just showing the front end of that BMW and the iconic camo blue and yellow and black livery that we've seen all season. But looming behind him is David Lawson in that Ghostbusters Ferrari. He'll be just rubbing his hand together with these two battling. It's his chance now to just hook up to the back of them and look to take advantage of any mistake that either of those two drivers make. And wow, what a start, James.
Oh, that was absolutely incredible. The fact that they all made it through as well. I thought Gravili and Busby we're going to have a little bit of a close one. I did think Grilli may have carried too much, and especially when he goes over the curbs, there's no steering, is there? So I thought that could have been another fly into Paul Busby, but he's made it through. Jonathan Hitchens made it through, and more important, Lawson still ahead of Luca, Tim. So.
Apparently Smith and Lebert have had a bit of a culling together, all on track. We'll see if we can come back to that. Here we go. There's Neil Smith. He's got, I think that's Bacon ahead of him there. So let's have a look, see what they do. So they come down into the hairpin. As Smith potentially lost under braking. He has, of course, the concertina effect. And Smith managed to hold on to it pretty well there, and considering the contact. But, just looking further back, Willoughby's under their attack. That's Cy Anthony coming at him in that Porsche, and Willoughby's being absolutely swamped. And Cy Anthony, he's already up about 4 places.
Yeah, he's up 3 places.
We've got a spinner there as well. That's Gilles. That's Gilles, as we mentioned, turn 3, the wall around there. He's come into contact with it.
Him? I think they might have tagged each other. Yep.
Oh, a glancing blow.
Yeah, Gilles coming the inside, Busby left him room. And they managed to hit each other, Tim. Unfortunately for Gilles, that could be the end of the race situation there for him, unless he can get going.
So Gilles is down, all the way down to 26th, where obviously he's pointing in the right direction. Such a hard place to rejoin the track, especially early in the race. But Willoughby's under attack now. There's a gap. Everyone's queuing up. You guys, take your ticket and wait your turn to have an attack at Willoughby. But here comes Taylor. And while there's a concertina effect, they're all banging as it's like a accident on the M25 as they all back up and trying to follow a car park down at the hairpin. But they've all managed to get through slightly unscathed there. Well, I said there's a Mercedes in the background there. I think that's Gosling. He's got to carry front end damage from all those connections happening there. Here's Xander Hill. He's heading about a bit of Lambo action, and he's got that through past Jones for 11th place. And, well, there's cars absolutely everywhere. They're going to attempt to go 3 wide now down to zone 1. This is got to work out. As we've got
William Campbell.
But Jones is not there, letting him get past. And there's also got the Porsche in the mix there of Chatterton, he's mixing things up and just adding a bit of a spice to the meal there.
Oh, Tim, that was close. I thought taking it 3 wide in turn 1 was never going to work out for them. They managed to take it all the way through. But I point out from Nathan Willoughby, Tim, we saw this in Long Beach. Remember in Long Beach where they all were sat behind him and he had that defensive masterclass until he made an error. So catching up with Nathan's one thing, getting past him is going to be completely different. I think Nathan is great at defending.
Last time around, Tom Tennant saying fastest lap of the race. He's not really pulling away much from Kenner or Jonathan Hitchin either, but then there's a big gap emerging between Hitchin in 3rd and Armstrong in 4th. You've currently got Busby 5th, Bebb 6th, Anthony 7th, Willoughby 8th, Lawson 9th, Taylor 10th. And, but that's going to change, I'm sure.
That's a guarantee, Tim, isn't it? That's a guarantee there's going to be swaps of positions. It just shows that they're all lining up coming into the last chicane in the first corner, Tim. That's where they all seem to at the moment, like their moves. As we see from Paul Busby, turn 3 is a little bit hairy with Albert Grilli. So, I think it's going to be interesting to see what Grilli can do from there now.
Oh, but Busby's under attack from Bebb. Here comes Bebb's BMW, hard onto the brakes. He's going to get the apex for turn 1, but Busby's going to look to line him up, maybe to get the drive on the cutback. But no, Bebb's using all of the low-down grunt of that BMW V8 provides to accelerate him through and on the drag up to turn 3. The BMW really coming into his own for this section here where it's able to monster the curbs. And
the BMW is very strong on the track, Tim. Very, very strong. Busby's going to have a bit of a mission to try and get back past there, I think.
I think he is, but we've seen that the Porsches have been so dominant all season that I wouldn't discredit him. And here he comes, he's lining him up, he's going to head, so he's going to have the word, so he's going to be on the outside of the first part of the chicane. And he's maybe going to, he comes on the switchback, he's made him go deep. And now his foot Beb is potentially a bit vulnerable. Busby's chinking inside of the track right now. So they head down to the hairpin, but he's going to be a bit too far back. But look, here comes Cy Anthony. While these two have been bantering, he is catching them, and he's catched them fast.
Yeah, he's going to have Paul Busby's going to have it from both ways there, Tim. I think he's got to go look forward at Charlie Bebb, but be aware of Cy Anthony coming through. And if he isn't aware of Cy Anthony will take him. So it's going to be an interesting situation for what Paul Busby does here, I think.
He's just making Charlie Bebb think and trying to unsettle him entering the final chicane. But out at the front right now, these three guys, there's hardly anything to separate them. A brilliant start from Tennant initially, but he hasn't managed to break McKenna or Hitchin.
You got less than a second, Tim. Less than a second between the three.
Right now, as it stands, right now, McKenna will be the overall champion, but with so much of the race to go, it is too early to tell whether that's going to come out. As Busby's well done, but Lawson and Willoughby were in a team last night, and these two drivers know each other really well, and also to keep you up to date on that championship as well down in AMS, Luca is down in 17th place, so that at the moment Lawson will be crowned champion potentially. There he is in his Mercedes, and he's stuck in a bit of traffic there. He needs to get a bit of a shift on right now, and Austin William Callum, wow.
Danny Gosling's back there, Tim. Looks like he's at a pole.
I think
his front end is very U-shaped. He must have taken some damage there.
I think he was involved in that early on concertina effect around lap 1, lap 2 down into where they are now, funnily enough, down into the hairpin. But Lawson, gone from being on the back of Willoughby, is now having to think twice. He's got, that's Taylor looming in that red BMW and not looking to make a move maybe this time around, but definitely making Lawson think. Lawson, he's dubbed himself the most unlucky man in iRacing. We've seen lots of that unluckiness throughout the last season, but he's really brought his A game to this season and transformed and really turned around some of his drives. But he's got all the work to do now, but at least he's got the knowledge that Taylor has got Xander Hill right behind him. He's got two Lamborghinis, Xander Hill and Andrew Jones, who are going to be making Taylor think twice. I think it could be a case of who blinks first here to make a mistake, and it's going to change it dramatically.
But Lawson doesn't want to make that mistake, Tim. Lawson doesn't want to make the mistake and end up behind Murray Luca.
Oh, Luca's in trouble here. He's in trouble. He's being attacked. Oh, he stopped. Did he? Has he hit the wall or something? He's got to be a slow down.
Tim. I think he took too much of the inside of the last one.
Oh, Murray Luca, that has absolutely plummeted like a stone. He's down in 23rd now. So all that hard work, he's going to try and do it all over again. He's got a lot of cars to make up to get back up to Lawson, or pray that something happens to Lawson and he's able to reduce the gap in that way. But talking of Lawson, he's caught right at the back of Willoughby now.
Yeah, if you look in chat though, Tim, UK Dan, if I was David now, I'd be letting Taylor by and letting him have a crack at Nathan, then follow him through.
Here we go. These three drivers are just heading down into turn 1, and the gap is ever so slightly decreasing between these two. You can almost throw a blanket over the three of them, and I think the only way potentially these three are going to sort themselves out in terms of who gets past who based on this form is either a mistake or it's going to be through pit strategy. Will Hitchin potentially what do you think, James?
I think for a minute, if I was Jonathan, I'd probably just sit there and follow. Hitchin obviously had the fastest last lap with 1:36.01, but I don't know, Tim, it's so hard. You're in the last round, aren't you? You know, you're in the last round. Paul Busby 3 places behind him. Would you really be crazy enough? I don't know. They're racing drivers, so who knows? They might be.
So, just looking at the points with Busby in 6th, so Hitchin needs to make up a 13-point deficit, of which, as it stands at the moment, that is not enough from Hitchin. He needs to get past McKenna and Tennant. He needs to go for this race victory, should he wish to pick up the Elite Championship title tonight. And the way that McKenna and Tennant have been driving, brand new into this season, is that I just can't see them making a mistake. And I think the only chance of Hitchin really is some form of strategy to try and get out past these guys.
Well, it's a thing, isn't it, with Hitchin? I think he should follow. IR UK down in chat says, Hitchin, sit and follow, save 10 litres of fuel, gain 3 seconds in the pit stop. Is that a philosophy, Tim? Could that be going through his head right now? If I sit and follow, I'm saving fuel?
I think it could be the only potential one that's going through his head. He's keeping these Porsches honest right now, and I think this could be his only potential viable option. And also, it's going to be his last race in, obviously, this incarnation of the Ferrari, obviously with the Evo version coming, and I'm certain he'll look to send it out with a bang, with a championship win and also a race victory tonight. Obviously, assuming even if he stays with Ferrari, being obviously the brand new Evo version for next season.
I think he will stay with Ferrari. Jonathan likes the Ferraris. I think he will stay with him, and he'll be in the Evo version. If he has got to go for the win, then I think he's got to push it through. I think he'll push it through. And he's going to have to go for it.
James Gravelli, we mentioned him, obviously saw him that incident with Busby earlier on. He has been climbing the ranks. He is now up to 25th. He is making way, make that 24th. He's just nipped past Neil Smith for 24th place. And he's on a nice recovery drive. And Busby and Bebb, but Busby just doesn't seem to have an answer for Bebb right now.
Oh, can we go back?
Oh, where's Hitchin gone? Yeah. He's dropped right off the back of the Porsches.
I think Busby, Hitchin's got back, that's fine, but I think Busby took too much of the curve and had a slowdown down the straight. Did you see him fly?
No, I didn't. I missed that. I just looked across the timing screen.
Yeah, he had a slowdown. He took too much of the inside curve, Tim, and literally launched the Porsche into the air. There was barely any wheels touching it on the last chicane.
The dices have been rolled here
so
in the league, and this could shape it yet again. This is now going to give Cy Anthony in the Porsche, another Porsche driver right behind him, something to chase down. The gap is now, visual. They are that close. There's 2 seconds between these two guys, and Anthony's going to be chasing Busby hard down.
You can see him now, Tim. That's the thing. You can see him. Busby's dropped back enough to see him. And as you know, when you're in a car and you can see the person in front, you start going faster and faster and faster through whatever mental thing happens in your head. You just start pushing and pushing and pushing it. And it's Cy Anthony's chance to catch up with him.
But also, Anthony, look, he's dragging along for company Willoughby, Lawson, Taylor, Hill, and Jones. So if these guys can all stay with Anthony, they can all drag each other along, as Hughes there, he's looking to make a few moves on Masters. Masters having to go defensive into the hairpin just to cover him off there, just in case he wants to have a bit of a look. But if those guys all come along for the ride, Busby could end up in a bit of trouble and being swamped by some other cars.
Tactical, him, or is Jonathan just in that mode where you get comfortable when you're driving? What do you reckon? He's dropped back now. He's nicked 1.25 seconds.
No, we've seen from Hitchin, he is not sitting comfortable. Where he is happiest is right up on the bumper of those Porsches, harassing them. Hughes is the first driver to blink. He's into the pits, currently on lap 11 of 29, so under half race distance. So that is potentially a bit early, but maybe just trying to get himself out in some fresh air right now.
As we discussed, Tim, there's never fresh air in GT3s, is there?
No, we've had this so
many times. We've had this so many times where we've been looking at the map and you're like, there's nowhere just to come out. There's nowhere to come out.
Well, actually, having said that, he has brought himself out in a bit of a pocket of fresh air, so hopefully that can work out for him with those tactics. He's got a decent gap between 28th behind him and 26th in front of him. So hopefully this can pay dividends for him. He can pick up a few places where he can set some more quality style laps for over the next few laps. But here we go. Tennant is under attack. McKenna is closing. That gap is shrinking ever so slightly. And McKenna applying maximum pressure. But while he's doing so, look, Hitchin is going quicker and quicker. And he's closing that gap. He was nearly a second quicker than McKenna and Tennant last time around. And he is close right up to the back of them, James.
Yeah, that's what makes me think, Tim, that Jonathan just sat back and had a moment, had a few laps where he was just nice and composed, keeping it nice and simple. We knew he could catch up. He's just taking a second out of them, and then he'll go again. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like getting your second wind, Tim. I think he's just sat back.
Just illustrating that pace. He's almost toying with them, you know, like they're, you know, he's the line and they're, you know, some sort of gazelle or something, you know, he's just playing with them almost. In terms of like lap time and saying, look, lads, this is what I can do as Rob Armstrong and also James Armstrong. The family of Armstrong having incidents very close together, and Armstrong's dropping down like a stone, so that's a biggie for him. We'll see if we can get a replay of that one, of what's happened to him. But look at these three up the front, but they just don't seem to quite have an answer for him. Here we go. Here's what happened to James Armstrong. Everything looks all right now. He's a bit close to the wall. I think there we go. That is round and round and round he goes, and he's pointing the wrong way as well. And that point in the track, it is hard to turn the car around safely.
Yeah, and you look at what he's done to it, Tim, as well. It's going to be even harder to try and turn something round that's so internally damaged.
So, we can have a look at that. Here's Rob Armstrong. Let's have a look what happened to him. In turn one. And we've seen a few people do that the sprint race, and Armstrong joined the collection there. But now, we've got activity in the pits right now. Hill, Sander Hill, Andrew Jones, Chatterton are in the pits. Obviously, James Armstrong, Adam Holloway as well. All heading to the pits, so I think the drivers may be getting a little bit fed up of being stuck in traffic, not being able to find their way past. I think this is where the pit window is open. We are still just under half race distance. Maybe Busby inspiring some, we said before the race, inspiring some of these drivers to maybe look at alternative pit strategies of pitting earlier. So now with Busby and Hitchin, obviously Busby is now only 2 places behind Hitchin, so that still means that Busby is champion. If Busby maintains 5th, that would give him 24 points. He now Hitchin needs to make up a gap of 13 points. So Hitchin, if Busby stays in 5th, Hitchin needs that race win to have the championship.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a close one. I think Jonathan's going to go for it as well, but I think he's going to go for it after the next round of pit stops. After his pits.
Bit of which?
Pits, Tim.
He is. Talking of which, I just keep you up to date on another one as well. He's down in pro category. Cy Anthony, currently 5th, obviously just elevated from where Busby has headed to the pits. He was locked in a battle with Chris Hitchin for the championship, and Chris is, where's Chris? I've seen him, there he is, he's down in 12th. So as it stands right now, those two equal on points. Anthony takes the pro championship, but absolutely anything can happen as Damien G there just getting incredibly close, swapping ends, and Jones nearly collecting on the way through, and he's stuck in a little bit of no-man's land there where he tries to get that Ferrari turned around. I think he's headed to the pits as well now, so just snuck it in there. But back to the battle at the front.
I think that was a toe position, Tim. I think he towed in there. I think he had the choice to try to cut into the pits or going round again.
Yeah, it's hard to send the car around there safely, especially where we've got so many drivers so close by, and James Armstrong looking to get past Ant Franklin, and that's a bit of an unconventional place there, James, but he's got the move done, and Franklin's lost place. Also lost out to Steve Hughes as well there, just as we cut to it in that Ferrari.
Yeah, that wasn't the most conventional place to be overtaking people, was it, Tim?
It isn't, but if anyone could do it, Armstrong is one of the people who certainly can.
Are we going to see, Tim, the chance that the three of these going in together, and then fuel could play a massive part? Are we going to have the same as what we had in sprint?
I don't think so. Willoughby, Lawson's getting a little bit almost fed up of sitting behind and looking the rear end of that McLaren. And it's really applying the pressure. He's turning it up against Willoughby right now.
Well, Busby's out in team.
Now, interesting. They're coming up to this little gaggle of cars. Are coming up to, that's Murray Luca's Mercedes ahead of them that they've got to clear. And Lucas, you know, as we've seen, he's always a safe driver and will move over when it's necessary. And because I don't think he's going to play a part in this, potentially.
No, I think he should. I think Murray will move out of the way, but will Dave Lawson have a little bit of a wide smile as he goes past Tim?
Well, I think so. As much lovely a bloke as Dave is, he's going to be rubbing his hands with glee. Yeah. The pressure has officially come off when he'll spot that is Luca ahead of him, his championship rival, and it's going to put a smile on his face.
I think it definitely will.
Talking to smile on face. Here comes Armstrong. He's going up the inside on Trevor Davis. But he's not. Davis is fending him off right now with everything he's got in that BMW. And Armstrong, they're gonna run down to the chicane. But Trevor Davis is gonna be ahead of him still. Armstrong not having an answer right now for Trevor Davis in that BMW. Oh, he's given him a little bit of a nudge to get a bit of a move on and get that move done as they head down to the hairpin now. Can Davis potentially perform the switch back on Armstrong? But he's not quite managed to get it. He's not able to get the car turned in enough and lost the traction, and that's Armstrong gone. Yeah,
Armstrong was too quick around the hairpin there, Tim, I think.
He was just carried so much more speed there.
Yeah, and again, we got the same three, Tedder, McKenna and Hitchin, all sitting close together.
They are.
When do you reckon they're going to go in, Tim? They got to be looking at it shortly, I would.
James, they're approaching back markers right now, so they're approaching 30th place Neil Smith. And based on current lap pace, they are going to be onto the back of him very quickly as Smith won the Porsche, just locked in. Sorry, it's Ant Franklin. I'm getting mistaken there. Excuse me. As Frank Lovett was making his way past Ant Franklin there and making the switch across to Mercedes from McLaren for this season. But it's Anthony Spanish. He's not really, after looking so. It looked like once he got past Willoughby, he was that'd be a him release and he'd head off into the distance. But that was Willoughby heads to the pits right now. He's the first one to blink out of this group, and he's heading. But Anthony not being able to pull away from these guys.
No, I thought he would have got a little bit more of a once he got past. I thought he would have been gone, but clearly Nathan is obviously a quick car, as we know, and a quick driver, so he's obviously managed to stay with him.
I mean, it's surprising to see as well, based on historical, times when drivers have taken pit stops. As we mentioned before the race, everyone's taken their pits. So many of our drivers have taken their pit stops very early on in the race. We've not long gone past half race distance, and by now, we'd be amazed to see any of maybe one or two start to come in. But right now, we've had nearly over 50% of the field already taken their pit stops.
Is that to do with the fuel usage, Tim? Obviously, looking at the last race as well, and it's a lot more heavier when you're going so much. You're going this speed consistently.
Oh, it could be. I mean, Lebet. trying everything he can to get past Trevor Davis. Davis, no! Just caught it on the grass when he was trying to get this much momentum coming off the corner there, and it sucked him into the barrier. As our leaders are in, Tennant and Hitchin, they've entered in, but McKenna has stayed out. This is his time now. This is Keith McKenna's time. He needs to be setting quality lap pace if he is to stand any chance of heading past Tennant. But right up the road from him is Neil Smith. Now, Neil's a conscientious driver. He will let him through as quickly as he can. But this is going to be interesting where these guys come out. We've also got Anthony, Lawson, Austin, William Campbell and Gosling all in the pits. So this is going to be interesting. Where does Busby come out? He's Lee Green also in the pits as well. Hitchens out. He's ahead of Tennant, James. He's jumped him.
Let's hope it wasn't. He's taking a less fuel, Tim, and he's going to run out in there towards the end. I'm hoping, obviously, Jonathan's a bit more smart than that.
I'm sure he's an experienced racer, not just in shorter races, but also in endurance races. And I'm sure he won't. As I think Armstrong, looking at some sheets, I think he's had a bit of an incident somewhere. But one to keep an eye on is Keeper McKenna. He's around whereabouts on track is he's coming down the back straight. Let's see whether he comes in this time around. He's right onto the back of Neil Smith. So I imagine this is his chance now to come in. No, he goes again. He's dicing it and pushing it his luck a bit here, I'd say, from based on the traffic that he's going to be caught up in. And meanwhile, Hitchin, he's in clear air. And as Charlie Bevis headed in from second, which just leaves Dan Taylor. He's also headed to the pits as well. We've also got Davis and Bickley in the pits too. So, yeah, it's this could play out anyway.
Looking at the pit stop, Tim, the average seems to be about 14 seconds. Jonathan Hitchin was in stationary for 12.27. So that's 2 seconds faster than everybody else's pit.
But he has been sat behind those two Porsches the whole race, just sitting. Has he been able to fuel save? Tucked up under their rear wing. That's a lot to fuel save. But
2 seconds.
Has he pulled off an absolute masterstroke here of strategy and racecraft?
Well, we're going to see. And see how that works out, but 2 seconds is a lot. But as you say, unless he saved them 2 seconds following him.
Oh, but Anthony's lost the position to Taylor in the round of pit stops there, but equally as well, look at he's pulled out. Anthony's also managed to pull out a big gap over Willoughby during the round of pit stops too.
But Taylor's stopped 1 second quicker as well, Tim. Taylor was 13.
Oh, McKenna's in. Your leader is in. He's pulled the trigger. Now, let's keep an eye on, viewers. Jonathan Hitchin, he is 30 seconds down the road. So he's going to get the draft from Luca. That is who is ahead of him in the Mercedes. And he is pulling away from Tennant. It's like he's been released. And he's going to utilise that drag all the way down to the Wall of Champions. McKenna is still sat stationary in the pits, and there we go. That's Hitchin. He's through. He's taken the lead as McKenna's now headed off. Tennant's also headed through. He's going to be in the lead. I'm just trying to see. No, he's not. Because of the pit exit, it completely had me fooled. And McKenna, wow, and look at that. He's managed to extend the gap between himself and Hitchin to 1 second.
Yeah, no, it was just where the pit entry was, Tim, wasn't it? Because he was coming down. We said he was coming down, but where the pit entry was,
because it cuts out that large part. Yeah. It looked like Hitchin had done enough, but clearly not.
And it was safe for McKenna because he looked like his pit right near the pit lane exit. So he can literally just floor it straight out.
So he's right in front.
Yeah, so he had no pit lane limit to worry about. He'd already done that, went on his way in. So it was literally just as soon as he finished fueling and that, he was just straight off there, Tim.
He was, and Lawson's he's got past Willoughby for position, and everyone's having a go. Here they go. His former orderly Q. Every time we seem to see Paul Nathan Willoughby, he's getting swamped by drivers around him. It's like Noah's Ark here. They're queuing up 2 by 2 to try and get past him. Here we go. So this is Lawson getting past Willoughby. Where's he? He's going to slow down, hasn't he? And that's what's caused. David Lawson having a bit of
hit the wall there.
Up close and personal rub with the wall there on the front right of that Ferrari. But Lamborghini's we've got to spin it out. I think it's that Sander Hill. Yeah, he's taking to the inside there. Just we got caught on the grass, and he's now at the back of this train. And Jones says he's been making progress of getting past some of these guys, and he's now heading up. Now, one guy as well, you said about Ben Cullen earlier on the race, starting from the pitch, you didn't think he'd be able to make progress. Well, he's currently up into 21st place. He's made up 11 places. But Nathan's coming back at Lawson. Willoughby is there, and so Lawson's clearly lost a bit of time somewhere there.
Yeah, that looked like he had another slowdown on there, because that looked a little bit straightforward. Say for Nathan Willoughby to get past David Lawson then.
Yes, it's going to be a slowdown. Surely it's the only way that Willoughby would have been able to close up that quickly on him. But look, McKenna's it looked like Tennant has been holding everyone up for this race, James, because he's currently he came out roughly about a second ahead of Hitchin, and he has stayed there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that Hitchin's got any sort of response for Tennant. For Ethan McKenna at the moment. I think it's going to be interesting, but I don't think Tennant would have been holding them up. I think it's just they were all so close to him. There wasn't a lot of room to really do anything with the people around. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There was no room, was there? Now, McKenna's obviously free now, so he's just sort of gone off and pulled out, 0.6 seconds ahead of Hitchin at the moment.
Also, down in there's a lovely little battle going on for 28th place between Davis and Bickley. They've been trading places all the way down in 28th. Just goes to show that there's action all over. Davis runs wide, and Bickley's going to have the run on him here, as Bickley is going to be on the outside up to the next chicane. But can he utilise all of that grunt from that Mercedes to get alongside? And he's going to have to try and perform the switchback and make Davis think twice potentially here. But no, Davis has managed to hold on the place. Bickley's not managed to set him up at all yet, but here he comes. He's on the charge. He's going to be late. Who's going to be the last on the brakes? Beckley, he's got the card slow, but here comes Davis on the switchback. And now it's going to be out of It's our leaders.
The leaders are behind them.
And these two are side by side battling, completely oblivious of what's behind them. This could really shape. They're literally, there's no way past for McKenna. I'm surprised he's not on the lights flashing him right now, as Davis is going to have the inside line, but that's going to give a compromised exit to these guys. And this is pushing McKenna back into Hitchin. The gap, Hitchin's been able to take nearly 4 tenths a second out of McKenna just from getting stuck behind these guys. So Bickley's let him pass, but it's Davis is currently holding him up right now. Look, that gap's down to half a second. This is gifting. Hitchin is down to 4 tenths. And now Davis, he's still not fully letting it pass.
Is he not noticing, Tim?
But this is played into McKenna's hands as Davis is slotted in behind in front of Hitchin, and Hitchin's not being able to quite find. There we go. He's managed to get his way past right now, but from that whole phase, just looking how it's now balanced out. So Hitchin's had a net gain of around about 3 tenths of a second, and it could have been so much more dangerous for McKenna.
Yeah, that. Definitely, I would have liked to have seen Davis move over at the same time Bickley did. on the straight there.
They've
Tim.
got that. Look,
Maybe he didn't notice, and they're still in a battle with themselves again anyway. This is what it is, isn't it? They're still battling.
Davis has slowed down and Bickley has cleared him, and that is him through. But here we go. So Andrew Jones in the Lamborghini on the right, and there's Gosling on the right of your screen now, and the Mercedes, the BMW. Ooh, that's just a bit messy. Ooh, well, they're nearly on the exit as well. It was luckily no one came off too bad. We had no spinners from that. But Hughes is Gravili, he's been on the recovery drive, is under attack. He's attacking Hughes right now, and he's looking to try and go to the inside. He's just looking to set him up, just trying to find his way past, just probing at the rear end of Hughes now is Gravili, and he's going to look to get the better run out of the hairpin and sit behind him. This has got to be the move done right now for Gravili. He's leaving it right to the last section, maximising the slipstream, and he's going to head to the inside, and I think, yeah, there we go, enough room even to pull back onto the racing line into the last chicane.
Yeah, that's Gravili through now, and on he can get on now to try and catch up with Stephen Masters.
But so back to your leaders, and look, McKenna's pulled out that gap and some more compared to where he is. I think I've just seen Lucas had an incident somewhere. He's headed to the pits. Let's take a little look what happened to him. So I can take.
Same as Armstrong, wasn't it?
Yeah, same car, same exactly the same incident, and I can take my marker pen of death and cross Luca out. So, bar Rob Armstrong having an absolutely biblical sunrise up through the leaderboard. This is looking like AMS. Oh, he's got a move. Oh, Jonathan Hitchin, he's struggling like mad now, and that's Tom Tennant through. And look, while these two have been battling, McKenna's pulled out even more. He is checking out. He's now 2.6 seconds, around about a second from this time last time around. Busby has just crossed the line, and he is, wow, he is going to be currently champion. So we've got nearly Yam Championship sorted. Elite is looking more and more like it's going to be Paul Busby's. Pro, that is currently looking like it is going to be Cy Anthony's.
Yeah.
There he is in 7th place. His closest competitor, tied on points, was Chris Hitchin, who is down in 16th place. So with him in space now, Cy Anthony, surely this is just going to be a case of just keeping it composed again with 4 laps left to go. And just bringing home the championship.
Tim. I think that would be the easiest thing for Cy Anthony to do. He's got 4 in front, 4 seconds behind. There's no need for him to go crazy.
There's not. Oh, no, contact! Oh, that's a biggie there. And he was lucky not to collect the other drivers coming through there.
Somebody went up on the right-hand side at the same time, though, Tim. He didn't come to get a bounce off him.
Was that Chatterton getting his car airborne then, and well, that could have been so much more of a bigger disaster there with the Mercedes coming through Gosling and Armstrong. We're right on board with Gosling right now. This is going to get the best way to view this accident. Oh, that was close!
Yeah, Gosling went off.
Wow! Danny Gosling, new underwear required to him, I think.
Yeah, definitely on that one. That could have been a lot worse for him then.
That could have been very messy. Here comes Damien Labette. He's lining up Neil Smith for a move on the inside into the chicane. And that is move done. That is for 24th place overall. And well, look at the way those Porsches just taking the curb. I think you said about it earlier, James. I think Ian said it in the first race as well. They are monstering it.
But as we saw for Paul Busby, if you take too much, Tim, 4 wheels end up off the ground. So it's a bit of a thin line.
It is. It is incredibly thin line, and Lawson, just looking at how he's getting on as well, he's lost, well, where he was tucked up behind Willoughby, he has now obviously dropped behind Austin William Campbell. Oh, we've got spinners in the background, someone's just come flying past that. I think it was that Xander Hill in the Lamborghini. So here we go, we're on board with him in the Lamborghini Huracan. Has he outbraked himself? Oh no, there's a tap from behind. I think he's braked earlier than Armstrong thought there, and it sent him round and round. And so unlucky there for Xander Hill.
Yeah, that's the problem when you got so close racing to him and the other person doesn't expect you, different braking.
It is different cars, different capabilities, and there's the nudge from Armstrong.
There you go.
So all the way, back to the fight for position 9. We've got Austin William Campbell's BMW, and Lawson in the Ferrari, and Jones in that Lamborghini. And starting to thin out a little bit now. This was about a gaggle of about 7 cars at one point, but Willoughby's managed to pull out a bit of a gap over these guys and got himself into fresh air. And obviously, Cy Anthony's checked out up in some place and pulled right away from them.
Tim, on my timing sheet, I got Jonathan Hitchin is 11 seconds behind Tom Tennant. Have we missed?
No, he's in front of 11 seconds in front of. He's in front of Charlie.
But he's dropped back.
He has definitely dropped back. And maybe where you're saying, James, where he'd taken a much shorter pit stop than everyone else. Although actually looking at it, Keith McKenna's wasn't that much slower, to be fair. And maybe now it's just a bit of fuel conservation where he was maybe gambling on trying to get ahead of these guys ahead of him. There's Porsche's ahead, and now she's trying to conserve a bit of lifting coast into the corners, and it's what allowing Tennant and McKenna to just keep pulling away from him.
Yeah.
Talking of Porsches, that is Labette getting past Bacon. That for 22nd position, and Bacon is under attack from Truby. He's seems to be everyone's having a go on Paul Garrett Bacon right now, and that dragon livery of Truby's Ferrari is getting done. And here's Neil Smith, he's having a go at Paul Gary Bacon right now. The Mercedes of Smith, he's going to have the work to do around the outside into the hairpin. But outbraked himself raking alongside Bacon, and that is straight into the back of Truby. And just looking at my timing sheets, I think Armstrong's also lost a bit of time as well. We'll come back to him. No one, the Mercedes drivers. Smith just outbraking himself there, and Truby just purely a passenger in that.
But it doesn't allow Bacon to get his 2 positions back, Tim. He's on his way, but I think, as I say, there's to be an apology.
Well, so Armstrong looks like he's all by himself, and he's caught the grass on the outside, and a manoeuvre we've seen from his father, Rob Armstrong, and another in the Mercedes, making exactly the same mistake there.
But it does allow Gravelli to catch straight up to the back of him, Tim, as well.
Potentially.
They are on the final lap.
Which could set up for a last lap battle. We've seen those two go hard at it before, but this is one. Lawson doesn't matter too much for the championship. He can let being caught by Jones behind him in the Lamborghini. It doesn't matter too much because he is going to take home that championship in elite bar a complete miracle is looking at Paul Busby being crowned champion for that one, and likewise with Pro, that is going to the way of Cy Anthony right now, bar some complete miracles on the last lap. Chris Hitchin well down, and he's, but like I say, a miracle. He is not going to get past Anthony. Overall championship, that is looking like going the way of Kiefer McKenna. He's got just under half a lap to go, and I think a lot of these drivers just I think this will be his first win in overall as well in the feature race.
Yeah, it is, Tim. It is his first win.
And what a way to crown out your debut season in the iRacing UK League by taking victory at the final round. He just needs to negotiate the chicane and across the line to win round 6 and take the overall championship. Your champion, Kiefer McKenna, wins at Montreal. Tennant coming across the line in second. Here comes a limping home Ferrari of Jonathan Hitchin. Not quite able to do enough. Looks like he's just literally limping across the line, running out of fuel there. Charlie Bebb comes down in second. Busby, he is home in second to take the crown in Elite Championship. Just waiting for now to last one to me to come across the line is Cy Anthony. Here he comes. He is your pro champion. Congratulations, Cy Anthony comes home in 7th place. The next one, here is David Lawson. He takes home the AM Championship.
Willoughby looks slow as well.
I think, yeah, a lot of people seem to be scraping home on the fuel. Everyone running on fumes. Clearly not learned much from the sprint race beforehand.
2 seconds is a lot of time to cut off your pit stops.
And I think that's, there we go, there's Lee Green coming across the line. And Holloway in the Mercedes. Just waiting for the last few drivers to head across. There's Labette and the Porsche. We've seen some great battles from him all season. Some absolutely brilliant drives.
There's your Ben Cullen there, mate.
There he is, Ben Cullen on the recovery drive. Started from the pits, comes home in 21st, third for BMW. Got Bacon home in 24th. Neil Smith, after getting caught up in a couple of incidents, spins his Mercedes home 25th. And we're just waiting for the, I think that's everyone. No, we're just waiting for, no, that is everyone.
Bickley's in the pit.
There we go. Yes, that is everyone. So, James, you want to take us through the classified results?
So, in first place, we have for McKenna. The second is Tom Tennant. Third is Jonathan Hitchin. Fourth, Charlie Bebb. Fifth, Busby. Sixth, Daniel Taylor. Seventh, Cy Anthony. Eighth, Austin William Campbell. Ninth, David Lawson. 10th, Andrew Jones. 11th, Nathan Willoughby. 12th, Dan Gosling. 13th, Alberto Gravilli with his recovery drive. I think he was down in like 24th or 25th at the beginning, Tim, after his accident. 14th, Chris Hitchin. 15th, Stephen Master. 16th, Xander Hill. 17th, Steve Hughes. 18th, Lee Green. In 19th, we have Adam Holloway. 20th, we have Rob Armstrong. 21st, we have Damon Lebert. 22nd is Ben Cullen, who's died from the pits and come up from 32nd place. 23rd was Gary Bacon. 24th, Neil Smith. 25th, James Armstrong. 26th, Stuart Bigley. 27th, Gary Truby. 28th, Ant Franklin. Brief. And that's everybody.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Is that everybody?
I think that is
Everyone.
Pretty much everyone.
Poof.
Wow. One to mention as well for Kiefer McKenna. Also, needless to say, taking home the rookie championship as well. Obviously, being down in rookies, not based on skill and ability, just where he was new to the championship. But wow, congratulations to him, and it's been absolutely amazing. Amazing driving from him all season.
And first win at the end.
Yes.
First win the last round.
So, I think that's, wow, just time to take a little bit of a deep breath and try and gather some force from what's been what has been an absolutely monumental season of GT3s here on iRacing UK. It's just got better and better as each season has gone by, and wow, it's been a pleasure to have you along for the ride this season, James.
It's been great to be here, Tim, to be fair. This is my first season of GT3s, and commentating with yourself. So it's been amazing, to be fair. I'm glad I've not missed anything. And just some of the quality of this driving, Tim, it's just breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking. They've done so well. Kiefer McKenna has been so consistent all season. And yeah, it's been definitely a monumental season, Tim, to remember. Do we say?
It has. And early on in the race, I was thinking, McKenna, he's made a mistake here. He should be coming in. And especially he was catching back markers, and I thought, no, this is going to spell disaster for him. But what do I know? He pulled off an absolute masterstroke of a move and outfoxed and played the tactics. As you just see the replay now.
Yeah.
You see on the far left-hand side there, well, that was right-hand side now, Hitchin and Tennant coming through as they cleared Murray Luca. But of course, where he had that qualify first, he was right at the end of the pit lane. He had hardly any distance to go. And as you can see, before he's on to turn 2, and that's it. He's got the outside line, and he is through, and that was job done for him.
Yeah, he just full throttled there, Tim. I'd like to mention something as well, Tim. Rusty Racing gifting 4 T1 subs to the iRacing UK's community. They've given a total of 10 in the channel so far. So Hamza Golem, I'm Youngie, Mark B01, Christoph TCHR, who've been gifted a sub by Rusty Race.
Wow.
Amazing.
Absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely amazing.
Very kind. Thank you for your generosity there.
Tim, highlight of the season.
Oh, wow. I've got to try and narrow it down now. I just don't know. I think one of the major ones has to be the defensive masterclass that Nathan Willoughby put on at Long Beach in the McLaren. The way that he held everyone off for so long was just an absolutely a sight to behold. You've got, I'm just trying to fit, obviously, just even the way all the way up to tonight, where you sort of pick out moments and that, and then all of a sudden, people surprise with you, and we've seen one of the brilliant moves was.
God, sorry.
I was just thinking one of the brilliant moves as well from Ben Cullen that he pulled off around the outside Interlagos into turn 5 that just shouldn't be done, and somehow he just pulled it off like he was going for a walk in the park. But yeah, there's just so many. With so many great drivers, and it's always filled with action, and we're never disappointed.
Yeah, I had the Willoughby defensive masterclass in Long Beach as well, and then it was the McKenna at the chicane of Imola. Was it Imola?
Yeah.
Where they were side by side, and next thing you know, it was in the air and no control into the side of Keith McKenna.
Yes, of course.
That was a very dramatic moment because McKenna was quick that day as well. So.
It was, yeah, he was. Wow, it's we could probably spend all night just reminiscing on over the last 6 rounds and this season. And wow, I think it's just time to say thank you to all of our drivers for what has been yet again another absolutely epic season of GT3 League. And obviously, after a bit of a break, we will be back for season 4. And that will come in a few weeks' time, and I know that there's been a ridiculous amount of people wanting to sign up for it and popularity for it, and it's just growing from strength to strength for this league. And it's with new drivers coming in and such strong drivers as well. It's attracting so much talent, and it's forcing other drivers to up their game, and we've seen so many great improvements from drivers this season. Like looks of Luca and Lawson and Anthony and Chris Hitchin as well. And just looking at the list as well, I just got to say that, of course, Imola, that Jonathan Hitchin back to where he picked up 30 places in one race. That's got to be, I think, another one of our great take-home moments from the season.
We've had the great defensive masterclass, and we've had the great attacking masterclass, didn't we?
We have.
Nathan attacking Jonathan. Incredible.
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible. And Wow. Well, look for, obviously, if you're watching over on Twitch, thank you for the follow, Nitro BGR and Chavez TV as well on Twitch. Yeah, so don't forget to hit the follow button on Twitch to stay up to date with all of our broadcasts on there. And if you feel generous, hit the subscribe button. That would be like Rusty Racing has. That'd be highly appreciated. If you're watching over on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. And after an absolutely epic season, thank you and good night.
Good night.